They will, but it should pop up again, and it should be quicker, hopefully, this time and work.
And why did that?
I really don't know at this point, baby. It probably.
I don't know the microphone. Do we need to?
No, that's not. They could hear us.
Okay.
This has a decent mic on it.
All
right. We've got people rejoining now. We hope we have liftoff. Can you guys see and hear us okay now?
Rather than getting to live in the same country at this point. You know what would have been better doing? You going home to see your mom. You logging on there, me logging on here, and it would have worked.
All sorted. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Well, that's taken a lot more than I expected that it would.
It just wouldn't let us go live, would it, on mine?
No, it's given us all sorts of issues to get here. So thank you guys for sticking with us.
I'll just get my bottle of vodka. Water.
Breathe.
Right?
Yes. All right. Well.
Oh, well, can I just say something?
Something.
This is hilarious because this is just every day for me, isn't it? It's like my vlogs. I told you I'm real. This is real. This is like you sit down to do something and it should be.
Drunk again in charge of wheelchair. Oh, the stories we could tell about that.
But we won't. It's not watershed.
Not today.
That's another one.
Catherine saying you look nice.
Oh,
no one's saying I look nice. That's normal.
You look you. Don't you?
I look me. That's about right.
You look you, and that's just fine.
All right. Well, shall we dive into a few of the questions that were asked in advance?
Yeah, before we disappear again.
Oh, look, I look cool. There you go.
Cool.
As hot as it is here.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's like the pit of the molten lava.
It is scorching hot here.
Mind you, if you saw the little video earlier on Casey's channel when we're talking about food, which I think we should do it again. Onto that one again here.
Okay, well we can
for anybody that missed. Okay. Yeah, fine. But we were sitting out in the garden and I wasn't dressed like this. And I'll tell you, I was not cool. And he had a fan going and everything for me. It was like, come on, we'll do it out here. I've got a fan on. And I went outside and give you the benefit. And look what happened. I just sat there with my glasses falling down my nose. What?
Baking.
What about it?
We were out there.
Baking, yeah, and it weren't me doing it, were it?
No.
In the kitchen. Right.
All right, so
question master.
First question. Now, I apologize in advance. I did not note down who asked which question.
So if we read it out, just and you hear.
Let us know if it was your question. Yeah. It was too hot to look happy, I think, there.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so I think a few different people asked this in various ways, forms, or fashions.
Okay, but thank you for all the happy anniversary.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone.
Right, go now.
So, a number of people have asked about your job and why you decided to do what you do and questions around that. So, do you want to start there?
Yeah.
What is your job to start with?
Being your wife. Full-time job.
I mean, yeah, that probably is a full-time job, yeah.
Okay, so my job is independent travel agent, but I'm not just one of these fly-by-night people that just put posts up and go, oh, I'm a travel agent, book a holiday with me. I'm affiliated. I belong to a bigger company, and all that company does is use home workers. Yeah, they don't actually use an office, but they've been going for years in the States, haven't they?
Yeah, they are a pretty old, and basically they provide all the HR support and
like preferred partners, like in suppliers. So that is my job.
Having to put up with my sarcasm is your job.
You've no idea. You've really no idea. You just see a bit of it on here.
You see all the bits where I'm being,
nice,
calm and
nice. So that is what my job is. Why I started it, when I started it, because before I was sitting on my backside as a full-time job. Okay, I had always worked in some form of another. I started work with Saturday jobs and stuff, when you could, when you were like 12 or 13.
Back when child labor was, normal.
Yeah, in Dick's days, as I always say. But, so I'd always worked, and then accident, MS, etc. I did craft. I have sold my crafts in the past, but I lost all confidence in that. And then lockdown happened. And when everybody wasn't working, here's me. Yes, I am half Irish. I decided, you know what? I'm going to do this, because I was always the person that family, friends always came to ask about holidays or flights, and I just used to do it. And then it got to the point where more and more people were asking me.
She was so good at it anyway, she decided to make it a job.
More and more people. Somebody go, I've got a friend and they're looking for a flight. And the big one for that was my dad's friends when my dad was around. And I was getting to the point where, I'm all right finding all these things for people. What if something went wrong? I wouldn't live with myself. I'd have no backup. It'd be just like anybody going on the internet and doing it. Just, I had a thing, I could always find it.
Lots of people talking about your crafting.
So, you don't, oh no, I'll tell you about my crafting in a minute. Anyway, so I was just on the internet one day, never said anything to this one, because brain fog is a massive thing, as you know, for me, last few years. And I just typed in, work from home travel agent, and a few companies come up. But then weirdly, somebody approached me on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't really know how all of that.
No, I don't. Anyway,
it all already happened by the time you told me anything that was going on.
It was all just so weird. It was like a bit spooky. Anyway, so I thought, right then, let's do it. So the first thing I had to do, Casey will attest to, is, because I was so annoyed with myself, was my ABTA training, and I had to sit the ABTA exam for a start, and before I could do anything. And then I, started working and stuff. And then the company got their own, what do I want to say, to do with the atoll. And then I had to do all that as well.
Yeah, you had to do quite a bit of kind of initial training.
We were able to provide atoll stuff, because we do have a way that we can, if we don't go through a preferred supplier, sort of like go on our home screen and you can add this to this and that to that and other to other. But really, I've never had to issue my own atoll certificate as yet, but I'd surprise you, I do know what I'm doing. And I will get back in my craft room in 2026, because I can hardly get through the door, and it's a big double bedroom.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, so my bedroom, our bedroom, but I do want my bedroom at some point. I know, shut up. Our bedroom. It's sort of now, it's a big bedroom, as you've seen, but up the end where my design feature is, it is all a door. I'm thinking about painting it white, getting you to paint it white, actually, that. But I've now just got a table, you know, like under the bed table that I had. I've got it out, and when you see me crafting, trying to be all professional with the camera down and stuff, that's where I am. So that answers the work, and I've blabbled on, and
Yes.
Casey, everything's not black and white or Casey coloured. Thank you. Next.
I have seen another question there, but
okay.
Sticking with a work question before we move on to the other stuff. I've also had a couple questions about what I do for a living. So trying to be
me.
Yeah, other than annoying Joanne, which I mean is something that I have to work very hard to do sometimes. Actually, it's not very hard at all, but I still do it. I also work in IT. I'm a business analyst.
Yes, you are not a chef.
No, not a chef. So in the last couple of months, I was actually off work for a while, but I'll be starting back actually this coming Tuesday.
Yeah, and I actually think I said on yesterday's vlog, just to address that, that, yeah, you've been in and out of hospital a couple of times earlier in the year, so just thought it was better to get yourself right properly.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, took some time off for some health concerns. I start back to work on Tuesday. New job. I'll be working in the office 1 or 2 days a week. Apologies, that might be the grandkids arriving. So the dogs are going to go mad there for a minute. But yeah, so I'll be in the office about 2 days a week, working from home the rest of the week, and I'll go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've had a couple questions just now, and they kind of tie into one that was asked previously.
Okay.
So there were a lot of questions about when or how you were diagnosed with MS. And then I've just noticed also that we've had questions about if you've always been in a wheelchair.
Okay, so shall I do the first one first?
Yeah, let's go with that one first.
Okay, first one first, the MS and how I was diagnosed. I had my first hospital admission in 1997, so it's a long, long time ago. And what happened was, for a good while, I'd been getting like fuzzy fingers. Yeah, and I had toes at that point as well, and feet. So like you feel like you're walking around in woolly wellies. Clumsy, dropping things. And then out of the blue, one morning, I woke up and I couldn't see out of one of my eyes, totally black. I thought I'd scratched it. I was with my first husband at the time. I thought maybe he'd knocked it. But no, I ended up at A&E and they admitted me straight away. They did some tests. They didn't even wait for all the tests to come back because some of them were so far off the scale that, you know, they told me that they were like 99.9% sure that I had MS. And it started as relapsing remitting all them years ago. And then obviously over time it's changed. And it's a bit of a pain in the backside the last few years of it's really changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, although I mean, to be fair, it's not been as bad as they predicted it was going to.
That's quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all catching up now.
Yeah.
So let it catch up now, and I'll just see what happens. A lot of speak about the hospital and the palliative consultant. So we'll just that's the MS. Have I always been in a wheelchair? No. That was 1997 too. Really good year for me, wasn't it? That one. And they say it comes in threes, but it actually didn't. No, I was involved in a really nasty road traffic accident. I wasn't driving, I was a passenger. So was my son, who was very young at the time. And I ended up, my legs crushed by a container lorry. I was trapped. Never blacked out. I can't believe I'm doing this now. Because my son was involved and he needed resuscitating, but he's fine because I've got grandkids and life goes on. And I didn't have my amputations at the time. And I will speak more about it, but I think that's all I can speak about for now, because I don't want to get upset on this, and you don't want to see me going, no, and it's another sad, no. So there we go.
Yeah, Catherine and Candy, I have seen that question, and that is one that we will be getting to in just a minute. That's definitely a big one that's been asked a lot of people about how we met. Yeah, I think that's probably the next thing we should move on to, I guess. So how we met. We met completely online.
Completely at random.
And
I couldn't get away.
We both were members of a book. It was like a book review website, and I honestly, for the life of me, cannot remember what the site was.
And I wish I could. But it was way back when, and a lot of people think we met because of dating apps, etc. But there weren't any.
No.
I think the closest you got to that was like the Yahoo
chat rooms and groups.
Yeah. Like Married and Flirting or whatever. But no, it wasn't even in there. It was geeky, nerdy me.
So I had read a book, and you had read the same book and commented on it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I started to read another book and saw that you had already commented on it. And I think after 3 or 4 books of spotting Joanne's name already on books I was reading, I think I sent a message, something to the effect of, okay, we're obviously reading the same books. What are you reading next? Because that's obviously going to be the next thing on my list. And
then the worst thing of all happened. No, this is even before we met.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing of all happened. I have always sort of like, with my son, played PlayStation, etc. Messed about with it. Casey.
I've always been a gamer, primarily a PC gamer rather than console.
Yeah.
But
Casey said to me when we got messaging each other, he said, look, there's me and a group of my friends, and we play this game. And at the time, we started.
Star Wars Galaxies was the first one.
No, because we waited for that. No, that's right. Yeah. Star Wars. And then, so I started this game. But there's a problem with this. I get really obsessive, and I have to be the best in it. No matter what I'm playing, I have to be, like I want to be the top level, and I want to collect everything, do everything. Well, that's his dream, isn't it?
That's me. If I'm playing a game, I'm going to absolutely min-max every bit of everything about it.
You were waiting for EverQuest 2.
EverQuest 2
to come.
Convinced Joanne to get that on launch day with us.
Oh, that is my love. Never mind him. That is my first love. Will always be my gaming love, and there's nothing like it now.
And yeah, we had so much in common between books and
friends.
Games and interests, and we were friends online for
ages.
7, 8.
No, we weren't.
It was ages.
It was about 4 years. We were friends.
Felt like a lot longer.
Because what year did you go to Afghanistan?
2003, 2004?
No, it must have been back in 2004.
Yeah, maybe 2004, 2005.
Because I used to send him tea bags and chocolate and things because he liked the English stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I went to Afghanistan as a civilian contractor for the military.
And then you came home.
I'd never had a passport. I'd never left the United States before that. But I'd always kind of wanted to see England. I'd wanted to see Stonehenge and various other things.
And we'll get this right before it skates over the next bit. You came home. It was November, I believe, and you were running out of tea bags.
Yep.
And here's your man, he says to me, do you think you could send me some more tea bags? And at this point, we were voice chatting. I'd always been honest right from the get-go about me being in a wheelchair and having MS. And I think we were sort of doing a bit of FaceTime stuff because it was starting to
it started out with like voice servers while we were playing video games so that we could talk instead of type while we played.
Yeah, and then WhatsApp
progressed to
things. We used to use
WhatsApp wasn't around yet then.
No, but I'm saying we used to use WhatsApp a lot when it came out.
Yeah, when it came out. But before that, it was Yahoo Messenger.
Yeah, and it was a lot of voice. And then like using proper webcams and trying to...
Yeah.
It was all so stressful. But he asked for tea bags, basically.
And she wouldn't send me anymore. No, she said no.
I looked and I said, no. And he said, no. And I just went, if you want some more, why don't you come and get them? And at the time, my parents were alive. I'd moved
into a house with your parents.
Yeah, so like they moved, I moved. And of course, for the past 3 or 4 years, they heard me talking to Casey. My mum used to come in the bedroom and in the people used to go, hi, Casey. Because if he was getting up for work at 5, I used to ring him at 11 a.m.
Yeah, because of the time difference, it was like lunchtime for Joanne when I was waking up. So she'd ring me and be my alarm clock in the morning at that point.
So it was easy for, like my parents, my mum especially, sort of know that it was okay, sounded decent. She didn't know.
Yeah.
But
your brother was convinced I was an axe murderer.
You were on top 10 most wanted list.
Yeah.
Definitely, my younger brother. So
I came over for 2 weeks the first time.
He arrived the day before my birthday.
Yep.
And then
the reason that I still get Joanne's birthday wrong is I always think of January 10th because that was the day we first met, but actually her birthday is the 11th. But I remember I was arriving for her birthday, so it always to this day throws me off.
So when we first met, actually in the same space, not online, it was in Manchester Airport, and I come to pick you up, and I wasn't driving, and my older brother had drove me, and we met. Has anybody seen Love Actually? Because it went like that. No,
I'm about to say I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
But you came through the gate, didn't you? And we just looked at each other and we smiled. And I think we were so comfortable with each other, and we just give each other a massive hug. But like your mum was convinced you were going to get to this end and there'd be nobody to pick you up.
Yeah, my mom was convinced that no one would show up and I'd just be in the UK alone with nothing and no one. But
no, so that's how we met.
But I came over for a couple of weeks.
Went back.
Didn't see nearly everything that I had planned on.
You didn't see enough of me.
No.
He came back.
About a month later, came back for 3 weeks.
Went
back.
Came back.
Came back for 6 weeks.
And it just went on. And then in 2006, Casey come here and we all went to Louisiana.
Well, before that.
No, but I'm on about did the backwards forwards.
Yeah, no, but before that bit, It was the bit where we were in the airport, and I basically, you were dropping me off at the airport, and I basically proposed and then turned around and got on a plane and left.
Yeah, and I didn't give him an answer.
Yeah.
That was a really long flight, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind.
But then, yeah, then I came over, and you and me and your parents got on a cruise and cruised to Florida, and then drove to Louisiana and met all my family.
And they were all great and fantastic. And then my mum and dad felt a lot better for knowing where Casey were from, and as my mum would say, actually meeting your people.
Yes.
And I think your parents and your granny and granddaddy and everyone felt a lot better because, you know, I wasn't this
mystery person. Yeah.
Also, his bestest friend told him to stop talking to me before we met because, do you know what? You'll waste your life, Casey. You'll sit at a computer screen staring at it, and she'll be staring back, and you'll get old and you'll get grey and you'll be alone.
Yeah. My advice to my best friend was an online relationship's never going to go anywhere. You'll end up just wasting your life and then, growing old alone. That was unfortunately the advice I got from my friends. They didn't have much faith in us.
But go figure, we proved them wrong.
Yep. So that's how we met.
Okay.
A couple follow-up questions that we've had asked in the chat and also in advance for both of us.
Right.
Do we prefer the US or the UK?
Do you know what? That is, I think, nearly one of the first questions people ask when they meet us.
Yeah.
Because I open my mouth and then he opens his. And then the question.
I couldn't stay when Sue's saying I should have stayed when I proposed. I couldn't. It was literally a last minute thing. As I was boarding my flight, my visa was running out, so I had to go.
No, you know what he did? He did the proposing and then walked off. And you know why he did that? And I'm sure I know why he did that. And to this day, I swear it's why you did that. Because you walked off, you didn't look back, and you'd never done that at Manchester. You know, when he went through, even the security people, where you go through security, knew us both. And it was like,
I've been back and forth that many times. Yeah.
Oh, you'll be back soon, you know, and things. And I think you did that, and you walked off, and you didn't look back in case I went no, and then you had to sit on that flight. And it's true, isn't it?
Would I do something like that?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, US or UK preferred?
So hard.
I agree. It's such a hard question.
Because you know where we'd prefer? An island in the middle of the ocean that we're halfway, because for me, this is my home, and you know, but I've got another home and it's thousands of miles away. And it's true.
Yeah.
I class Louisiana as home too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, this is home. I mean, even though that is home, this is home. It's odd. I miss a few specific things about Louisiana. I miss being able to go hunting. That was
you never
such
missed it when you were there.
Yeah, and it was a thing I really took advantage of when I was there. Or I didn't take advantage of when I was there. I took it for granted.
That's it, what you do with things, and then it's when you're away from things that you realize.
So I miss being able to go hunting and fishing and, you know, spending the day out on the lake.
Fishing here.
When you put the fish back, it's not fishing. You're just feeding them.
You can go sea fishing. You don't put them back.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, there are elements of Louisiana I miss. Crime isn't actually as high in Louisiana as a lot of people think. There is a lot of crime around New Orleans
down
and
that
Baton
way,
Rouge.
but you live in the north.
The couple really big cities up in the south of Louisiana have quite high crime rates. But northern Louisiana, where I was from, crime was really low. So yeah, there are specific things like that I miss. I think there's probably some things from here that you would miss if we went that way.
The main reason for settling here was...
Well, that was about to say that leads into the next question of what made us choose here.
What made us choose here was, number one, my family. I had a son who was a teenager at that time. So...
You also had your parents here. You had both of your brothers here.
And we were all in the accident. It just made us all... We were so close anyway.
Yeah. Joanne had a very close family here. And my family, although I was close to some of them, we were a bit more spread out.
Yeah, but then like us, we were so close. And then when I had my accident, that just meant everyone, you'd think everyone had run, well, a lot of people had run for the hills and think, my older brother gave up his regular job and went freelance. He's a graphic designer. He's a ceramicist. He's amazing. He helps look after me. My younger brother was a professional rugby player, and it's just, my dad retired early. My mum retired early, very early. And so family and, let's be honest, healthcare.
Well, I was about to say, I think Candy just mentioned that healthcare would cost a fortune in the States. And that was part of...
had a job with...
And that was part of the decision as well with Joanne's ongoing healthcare costs. It made a lot more sense logically to be here as well as the family elements. So, I mean, we did consider the USA. We've considered getting a summer house there. Up to now, we still think about it sometimes.
We'll never say never.
Yeah. But that's kind of why we decided what we did at the time and why we did that.
And it's always up for review, but now we've got grandchildren here.
Yeah. So we'd have to steal them and take them with us if we did.
We'd have to wait till they got
old enough to travel.
Old enough, so, and then there'd still be the healthcare thing. I don't think it'd be too much of an issue because you could get work with a good health plan. So anyway, that's why.
Yeah. So I think that could be the grandkids in the other room.
That's fine.
There were a couple questions about the grandkids as well, kind of how old they are and things like that. Now, obviously, for protection, we try to keep them, for the most part, off the channel. They keep trying to duck their way on.
I know. Annabelle's 9. She's 10 in November. Mm-hmm. Dexter's 7, and he'll be 8 in March.
Yeah. And they are here with us part of the week. They do have their own rooms upstairs. So yeah, they stay with us. They live here part of the week. Their dad lives here, obviously, with us as well. So they're staying with him. And then the other part of the week, they're with their mom.
Which she only lives in the village.
So not far.
No, so it works for
no sound. What's happened to the sound? Can you guys hear us? Can you guys hear us okay?
No sound at all.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Is that better? Sound okay now?
Good. Or are YouTube telling us to show? Right, okay.
Okay, seems like the sound's working again. So apologies if you did miss any of that yet. So Annabelle's 9, Dexter's 7. They live with us part of the week with their dad. They live with their mom in the village the other half of the week. So, yeah, they've both got their own rooms here, and And there we are. Oh, it looks like some people can hear us and others can't.
Oh no.
I can only say maybe refresh if you're having audio issues.
You know, I think you might need to type that. They can't hear us. Yeah, go out, come back.
Mm-hmm.
Can hear. Good.
Okay. Okay, so next one, a really quick one. There have been a couple of questions asked about if I drive. Yes, I do drive. I'm not a particular fan of driving in the UK. It's not my favorite thing, but I do drive. I do have a car. The reason that you will normally see Joanne driving if we go out together is because if we're in Joanne's car, it's normally set up for her to drive. So rather than swapping the seats over and
because we can have it set up so I'm a passenger in the front and Casey could drive or whoever could drive.
Yeah. But if it's set up for Joanne, then we normally leave it there.
Because normally when people see me and my Emma.
Yeah.
Emma's driving. So, but it's still my car. So the seat moves. So yeah. So
that's all for that one. That's why you will see Joanne driving more than me in her videos normally. And then the last question that we have as a pre-asked question is kind of, I guess, mainly for me, but a bit for both of us.
Okay, well, go on then.
We've been asked about the story of the guitar on the wall.
I know you see it a lot, don't you?
Now, there's a lot of history behind that, coming from a couple different directions. So, growing up, my dad played in multiple bands. He was a bass player. He was a guitar player.
Bands you've heard of?
Yeah, he knew some quite famous bands. He jammed with some of them. He was never on any albums or anything like that, but he did live things with them. Yeah. But so I grew up around my dad playing the guitar all my life. I got over here, and Joanne's dad played the guitar as well.
He did.
And in some bizarre twist of fate, Colin, which is Joanne's dad, picked up a guitar that had that sunburst pattern that looked almost identical.
It's a bass, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sunburst pattern bass that looked almost identical to one of my dad's old basses. And I mean, as soon as I saw it, I fell in love with it. And
me and my dad were good at guitar shopping because you don't want to hear it, but I play a little bit and the keyboard and.
I was always more of a singer than I was a musician.
I'm learning the ukulele. If I ever get my finger out and do it.
But basically, so that was that guitar belonged to Joanne's dad. That was a guitar that reminded me of a bass of my dad's. And one Christmas, Colin gave it to me.
He gifted it to you, and that was major.
Yeah. And I don't play it much. I'm not very good, but I love it. And
should have a few lessons.
One of these days, I might actually get around to being decent with it. But
it sits on the wall.
But yeah, it's there. It's in its pride of place.
On our bedroom wall, and when the kids go past, you'll hear this ding, ding, and I go
plucking those strings.
Touch it. But yeah. And in our sunroom, there's a keyboard which we actually got for Annabelle last Christmas. But I have a full-size keyboard that isn't out. And I used to sing quite a bit. I was in the community choir, and we used to sing together.
Yeah, I used to sing quite a bit, although I can't really like I used to anymore.
No, because
I had some issues a few years ago. I had an operation that went wrong, and I had quite a bit of lung damage.
he ended up in intensive care. He was very, very ill, so
Yeah.
he can't get the. But you can still sing because you have sung in church after that when we've been.
Yeah, I don't have the breath control that I used to have, so it's a lot harder for me to sing.
I've even been known to go singing at the senior center.
Richard Smith's Bluegrass. Now that I have not heard of that in a long while. I've heard of. I couldn't bring any of it to mind just now, but I know that I've heard of Richard Smith.
Do you know what? I'm glad you love singing because singing brings me loads of joy, and because of my car and how my MS is affecting things, I find it hard. And I have considered going back to the choir because I saw somebody and I'm like, oh, come back. But I still sing. I sing all the time, me. And that's why you see me singing in the car. You see me and Emma singing in the car. And yes, we'd love to sing for you because we're so fantastic at it. But we can't.
No, copyright's a nightmare with that.
So we can't.
But no, I grew up around a lot of bluegrass music, a lot of country music, and a lot of gospel music.
And bizarrely, I loved country.
Yeah, that was another thing that we had in common that really surprised me when we got together. But I grew up around the church. My grandfather was a Southern Baptist minister, and he was a choir director before he was a minister. So
youth choir.
I was youth choir leader at my church for years. I led adult choir a few times whenever he wasn't well. I would step in after.
And that was another bizarre thing as well, because as I got older, I'd say probably about 10-ish, I started going to church with a lady that my mum worked with that went to church. And we'd always gone to like Sunday school at the Baptist chapel that wasn't far from my house. And before that, even went to Sunshine Corner. That was like a little group for younger kids. And, I've still got my Bible, my children's Bible from there that I got.
Yeah. And then we've got Granny and Granddad Bibles as well now.
Yeah, so there we go. So we had some really bizarre weird things in common.
Now there's a question for us, Joanne. Did we want children together?
No.
Now,
here's a big question.
Here's the thing to bear in mind. When we got together, Robert was already
teenager.
Was he 14, something like that?
Yeah.
So Joanne already had a teenage son when we got together. And I have 2 younger brothers who are like 10 to 12 years younger than me. So because my dad had been working all the time and a lot of that was going on, I had kind of already done the t-ball, baseball, football coach for my younger brothers. My younger brothers, oddly, aren't actually that far younger than Robert.
Just like 6 months older, and like something like 9 months older, 9 months younger.
So even though it was, as an older brother, I had kind of already done a lot of the dad stuff with my brothers because of the age difference. And then coming along and having Joanne already have a teenage son, and we
did really talk about it though.
Yeah, the extra stress and the extra along with having kids in a wheelchair with MS, with all the rest of it.
I mean, people do it, but
we just decided that we kind of we'd already had that experience of things.
You always say you skip to the best bit.
Yeah, and I will always say I skip to the best bit. I skip to having grandkids. So that was kind of my way of getting around that as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Have we got anybody with any other questions that they want to ask before we wrap up for the evening?
Unfortunately, I can't wrap you up.
No, she did wrap my. She got me my watch for our anniversary.
He got me some lovely things. I'm so happy. Didn't you?
Lego.
Yeah, he got me some Lego. He got me a beautiful pendant, and one heart's crystal in it, and the other heart is silver. And then there's the stone for September for our anniversary in it. Very good, Casey. Top points. But you'll see, I always have this around my neck. Always. Never take it off. Do I? Sleep in it.
Yep.
Shower in it. Bath in it. Everything in it. Only time I'll take it off is the hospital, and I make for x-rays. I make them take it off and put it straight back on, because this was a gift from Emma and Ash, and they got married. So
the necklace I gave her is not as important as the one Emma gave her, of course, you know.
And I've had it around my neck since.
Yeah.
But you may see his feature, but I do like to keep this one on.
Yeah, Zuzu's saying she loves, or they love Lego. As you can see here behind me, we've got quite a bit of.
He was going to turn the camera.
Lego.
Go on, turn it.
Here.
Turn it, and we haven't got it built. Turn it some more.
We've got all sorts. There's the Optimus Prime that Joanne got me at Legoland, and the Groot that the kids got me for my birthday. The sailboat, a Christmas house, some Christmassy, the rest of our Lego City buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. One more question before we go then. Someone just asks, how did you meet Emma?
I don't know whether to wait for Emma for that, but I will tell you briefly how we met. But look at my glasses with the heat. Ooh. I'll tell you how we did meet, and then I suppose me and Emma can elaborate on it, because it's the right story, just stuff.
Everything involving Joanne and Emma can be summed up as a right story.
It's brilliant. So what it was, if I hadn't by some fluke of fate met Emma, we would have been divorced now, because our lovely fur babies, and of course fur babies make a mess in the garden. And as you all know, Emma is the dog poo fairy, and I used to get sick saying to him, will you go out and pick it up? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it later. And it just got to be
You are leaving out the fact that I was having quite a few back and knee issues at the time, which was why
you didn't have to bend. Anyway. So I just went on the internet, because I thought there's got to be somebody that does this. And then I thought, let's see. And I just typed in, dog poo picker-uppers or pet waste removers, or don't know what I did, and
found Emma.
Emma's details popped up, and I rang Emma and I said, look, I've got 2 golden retrievers, yada yada yada. And she came. We had a chat while she was doing it, and then I knew straight away I was going to be her friend. And I knew it. You can't understand it how I know this so quick. But
Joanne can meet someone and immediately know
that's going to be it for the rest of my life.
Whereas it takes me a lot more to kind of get.
Or if I don't, how can I put this? If I don't really like somebody, I don't suffer fools.
No.
I'm civil and I'm polite and I'm nice, but if you saw me in those situations, I'm not.
Yeah, whereas you can be polite to someone you don't like. If I don't like someone, I'm pretty clear about it.
Yeah. So, and then, like we'd have a chat every week, and that's how we met. And she is one of my bestest friends, and she's so loving, and she's just Emma. What can I say?
Yeah, she's Emma. That's
and Emma Nash, of friends, good friends.
They've become really good friends to both of us. Yeah.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. So that's how we met.
Oh,
do you know what? Right, I am going to say this, and I do mean it, because I will say, you see, when I met him, and I went over to America and spent time in proper America, not in New York or wherever. And I don't mean anything bad by saying New York. What I mean is, it'd be like people coming to here and just going to London. You know? But that
people think that London is the UK, just like people think New York is the US. Yeah.
So, and I'd hear people saying, love you. And I'd go, how can people just do that when they don't really know him or whatever? I never say that unless I mean it. And you know what? I do love you guys so much. I appreciate you all. I look forward to the comments. I know I'm crappy at answering, but you know what?
Shannon's from New York.
Yeah. And you know what? Well, I don't know how many times I've been there. I mean, Manhattan.
We used to take cruises from Southampton to New York and back quite regularly.
Queen Mary too.
Yeah, so we've been there quite a few times.
But you'll know what I mean, because once you get out of, I don't know whereabouts in New York, whether you're in Manhattan or Brooklyn or what, like the surrounding state suburbs.
New York State, not New York City.
Right.
So you'll know exactly what we mean then. People hear the USA or they hear New York and they immediately think New York City. They think Manhattan. They don't realize all of the rest of New York and all of the rest of America is so different from that.
Yeah. So that's why I don't say that unless I truly mean it.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that. I'm not fake.
Yeah. Catherine, I've seen the question you asked about sending things to us. We do appreciate anything that you want to send across.
You don't
have to. We don't have a PO box set up at the moment. We do have Amazon lists that people can, if they want to give something, can send through. But I don't think we currently have a way of just sending things direct. It's something that we might need to look into. But honestly, it's appreciated. But you don't need to.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you though. Yeah.
Like I say, we do have the wish list, don't we? That you can send things to us off the list, sort of thing. But I haven't even looked at it for ages.
I think it will then also let you send anything else on Amazon if you have something from the list in the basket as well. But
it's like a gift registry almost.
Kind
of.
It? Yeah. All right. So, final question, and this really will be the final question this time because we are going on about an hour now. We've been asked, when are we going to do this again?
Now, this was a question that from me to you. Would you like to see this again?
Are you guys interested in more lives from us? Is it something that you would watch if we did it monthly or something like that?
Cyclically, or if it's something you are interested in, then it's something we will do and
get better at, hopefully.
And hopefully YouTube won't be against us. And what we'll do is we'll try and find a time
that works for most people.
So maybe, because I know somebody saying, like it's 6 a.m. in New Zealand, I'm going to try and get up. And
quite a few positives on, yes, we should do this again. So there you go.
Right then. So even like maybe we'd move it 7 o'clock or something, you know, and we'll try and find a...
Maybe put a post up on the channel to let people vote on what time works best for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll look into it though. And we'll definitely do it again. We'll just need to figure out when that's going to be next. All right?
And thank you all for bearing with us.
Yes, much appreciated. We love the fact that that you guys stuck with us, and we appreciate you guys being here. So, what time is it here? It's 7:30 in the evening currently, so we're 5 hours apart from you, Sue.
So that's not bad. Look, I used to live my life on a 6-hour time difference.
Yeah.
I could tell you the time better in Louisiana than I could here. You know. So
Nicola's first live.
Oh,
and we've hit 7:30, and the lights have all come on.
Oh yeah. Funny that. So yeah, and this will be posted as a vlog.
Yeah, so we'll post this so for people to catch up, and we can go from there. All right, guys. So yeah, we will see you next time then. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled videos tomorrow.
We will. Thank you again.
We'll speak to you guys soon.
See y'all in the next vlog, lovely people.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.